you're based in India right now?
Yes, right now it's India. Right.
Mm, mm. Where in India are you?
Oh, right now I'm in India, which is called North India, which is state is called the Himachal states, which is many of you maybe remember heard about it. His Holiness the Dalai Lama lives close to 2 hours from where I live here right now.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, wow. So, and then I know that you also, I read up on your biography a little bit, and you were born in India. You were born in Burr. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it, but Bir.
Right. So yes, I was born in India, and my parents come from escaped from Tibet with His Holiness Dalai Lama 1959. So I was born uh, in India. So since then, I'm in India and traveling some other places as well.
Mm, mm, mm. Does do you find yourself going back to where you were born sometimes? Does that or are you kind of in close proximity to it now?
Right now, I am actually close to, but the actual where I was born, actually not far from where I right now, where
Mm,
I
mm.
am here right now, not to maybe 2 hours from here. So, so very close. So where I was born here and my all teenage and study here in India, actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And I know that also looking through your biography, you graduated from the Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies in Varanasi, and that I don't know if that was your first encounter with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but there's a picture of you. There's a great picture of you receiving some sort of honor from him, and I know that he might have he bestowed something on you when you graduated for the honors, kind of saying how well you did in school. What was your experience like in that circumstance? And I don't know if that was your first meeting or not, but what was it like to be interacting with the His Holiness?
Yeah, that's right. So yes, I was born in Himachal, which is Himachal states in India. Then I went to uh, quite a few years, almost 10 or 15 years in a monastery. Then from there, I left from monastery in 1981, went to the Tibetan Institute in Sarnath, Varanasi. So I studied there, graduate from, as a bachelor's and a master and in philosophy and languages. And during those time, I yes, I actually met before Dalai Lama, so not close as you saw. My picture was there, so it was some kind of uh, receiving some gift or some as a how to say the uh, from His Holiness Dalai Lama. It was very special. That's one picture I have, which is I used to. The truth is, I used to don't think as a very special that picture is. Now become a become after since 19. It was actually that picture was must be in the 1987, somewhere in 87 and 88, I believe so. Picture was there with the, I had opportunity to with the Dalai Lama that picture. So now I say that picture is even though I don't remember where's the original picture one is it, I have only copy for myself, you know. So yeah, of course, it's a very special, you know, special time, special blessings.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And especially for it to happen, after you had done some schooling and you were still, I mean, that was in the 80s, right? Where you had met him. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. that must have been incredible. And then what I really love about your website, and I'll just discuss it just briefly here. It's lamagursam.org, and you have pictures just of your tr different travels and things like that, especially as you were earlier on. And there are quite a few pictures of you kind of in the dorm settings, you know, where you would be for your studies. There are also some pictures of you a little bit more grown up, and you are in some caves, and you are in some special kind of sacred sites. And one of them is in the I'm not sure how to exactly pronounce it, but Lapchi Mountains. You're in the Vajra Yogini cave, and then there's another one with you in another sacred cave in Lapchi. What is it like to be uh, in these spaces? Is it something that feels like you're doing something, you're participating in tradition, or does it feel like when you are there, there's some sort of connection or contact that you get while being in these sacred spaces?
Uh, well, thank you asking uh, this wonderful questions actually. So I had opportunity after had a wonderful time at the school 1981 and until 1990. So I had opportunity to complete my master degree, which is in the Tibetan Institute, very well known in India, and uh, wonderful professors I met during 9 years. I really think it is very special, really, really special day for me at the 9 years to study and graduate as a master degree. So after that, I had uh, always wanted to go to retreat some holy places and some mountains, which is it was uh, special. I felt special connected to those places. I wanted to do, but then somehow, due to different conditions, it did not happen right away. After my graduation, I have went to as a volunteer working in some Tibetan monasteries in the Dehradun area. So 6 years. After that, so after that, I came 1959. Since 1950, no, 1995, came to United States. I had opportunity to go there, and I had many years there to study and practice, and some opportunity to teachings. So since after there, uh, beginning of 2000, I believe beginning of 2000, I have opportunity to go uh, to those places like you mentioned about the cave, one of the Milarepa, that's called one of the great master, Yogi Milarepa's cave. I have personally some uh, self connections in my, I always really see him as my wonderful role model, real in life, how in the spiritual path. So I had this monastery. I went to after that some opportunity to go retreat, and my solitary retreat many years for more than 3 years solitary. Then I went to those cave, which is one of the Milarepa's cave, which is right now in the border of Nepal and Tibet, actually. Usually they say, now historically, the border, that cave, the usually territory belongs to Tibet. That's a long story back to. So I have opportunity those places and holy places. The reason is I try to follow those great yogi, those path to their path. So I had opportunity to go and retreat, meditate and practices, wonderful many months, almost years. Each time I had opportunity to go practices and so forth.
And were those caves where Milarepa and some other caves that are nearby. Were those caves where people had attained some sort of level of awakening or some sort of insight, or were they just where they would do most of their solitary retreat, or otherwise, or did they have like significance for what happened there, or is it just kind of like because they were there regularly that kind of imbues it with some importance?
Oh, that's right. So the historically, like Milarepa, when he was the cave, the beginning, he was there and he attained his enlightenment, and that's those places, the Chilapchi Mountain, to dispelling all the afflictive emotions that which we call sometimes the maras to he become enlightened places. So therefore, pretty sure. And after that, many masters been there, then probably they have a wonderful experience too. I myself uh, had not a realization, but I had only, I can say, the humble to say, the when I was reached those places, it's quite a very calming mind. It's just really undescribable. You cannot express that. You know how I was joy, the happy, and I went to the through practices there. I have opportunity, but generally speaking, it's going to so those places sometimes challenges there too as well. Not always wonderful things. There's other side too stories.
Yes, wow. I can imagine that, just being in the presence of a space that is that has been powerful for someone as significant as Milarepa, but also some other people that have come through that have also had similar, or that have had significant experiences for themselves. I could see that, walking in, having having that kind of calmness, like you're experiencing something a little bit more, maybe a little bit more clarity, or just like a little more settled down when you're there. And remember, you had mentioned that you have a personal connection with Milarepa. Is there something about his story or about Milarepa as a figure that particularly resonates with you, or that you have some sort of connection to, that makes it a little more special than someone that might just be studying Milarepa for their schooling and for their practice?
Yeah, there's many my personally like connected with the Milarepa's lifestyle. One thing is very for me is his own his teachings are it's really matters. His teachings are so simple, so practical, really practical. That's one thing I remember. He said, "You don't have to give up everything. You don't have to give up everything. You don't have to change your uh, how you look like it. You don't have to shave your hair. You don't have to change your clothing. You just have to be there. You just be there, whoever you are." So that really felt me very. Another thing is actually my background story is I was a monk, actually, no longer monk. I was a monk. So I had a wonderful experience in the life, in my long monk life. And after that, I'm following Milarepa's footstep, not longer monk, just following as ordinary practitioners, like a yogi, that is called. The yogi has many definitions, as you know, but the symbol is just a simple practitioner. So yes, so that is really he always Milarepa. One thing long time study his songs and the teachings, and I've been also teaching myself to sharing people. I always found in his teaching is very kind of practical at the same time, it's very, how to say, the uh, respect for every practitioner. Doesn't matter whether you're a monk or whether you're ordained, whether you're an ordinary person, doesn't matter for him. He respect for every living beings, human beings, non-human beings. He has equally respect for everything. And his teaching was also very, every levels, very practical, very, very practical. Even the one word which he mentioned, some teaching in the text, it really, really immediately special for me is it touches right away to the heart. That matters for me. Maybe I'm getting older, so maybe possible that way. Whatever it is. So reason. So another thing I'm getting kind of, been Dharma quite a bit my whole, almost now I'm over more than 60 years. So been my life in the spiritual path. So I'm always looking at, really, I'm respect everything, all the wonderful philosophy and history and the wonderful things, teachings, different levels. It's always because I mentioned you about my background education is philosophy and finish my master degrees. I know that little bit. So especially Milarepa resonate me as really touching me is it directly, in the heart, each word he's saying about it. So that's what I'm very always close to him. And I also really, really always try to keep his all the wonderful texts. I always respect every text, especially Milarepa songs text. It always goes with me actually. It means to me the truth is actually when I get upset or when I get a bad day or bad time, bad emotion, I think it's just open some things and read it. Don't worry about anything else. Just and it's every answer is there. Every thing is there. So that's what I really uh, highly respect his teachings and his way, his lifestyle. One thing I always like to say, people say, when we look at him, his life story, uh, he is really, really renunciation. He does not own anything, none of them, nothing else, He has a wonderful, real teachings. He does not own anything at all, No monasteries, no students, nothing. That does not mean he always teaching for the students, but he does not, how to say, keeping student close with him. He always, okay, after teaching, I remember his teaching says, now it's time to go. You go your way. I go my way. I really like to, has been doing that. I really love to do again more. It does not mean I don't like to be with the friends and students, but simply it means kind of something more than that.
Certainly. And I'm so happy to hear that there is that deep connection that resonates with you on a few different levels. I mean, that there's that general respect for all beings that I wanted to kind of touch on just in a minute, but there's this also that not owning anything, just kind of always like creating or making almost every opportunity with any being, or maybe even every non-being, an opportunity for teaching or for someone to practice their own compassion and kindness and things like that, where sometimes if you get caught up in the organization element or the leadership element of something, it can feel like there is now a structure that you have to maintain or that you're now attached to or something like that. So that I can imagine there's something very freeing and very powerful about Milarepa's approach to working with students or to working with anybody and just kind of constantly being a source or a resource of Dharma. That's really, really wonderful. And I'm so glad that, you have that personal connection with it where it always kind of follows you, that the text always kind of follows you wherever you go. But you also, through some of your online courses, you go through the 100,000 songs of Milarepa or and discuss Milarepa's teachings there. So it's wonderful that you also get a chance to have a personal study and a personal examination of things, but you also get to share that with people that join you online. And I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to that respect for all beings, because I feel like it's the work that you've been doing with the Bodhicitta Foundation uh, has a lot of connection to that respect that you have been cultivating. And when I read some of the biography of the Bodhicitta Foundation, it has to do with serving others that are in need of service, but also with animals too, and with it's much more inclusive. And I was wondering what made you uh, develop something like the Bodhicitta Foundation, and what is something that you want to dedicate that work towards?
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Bodhicitta Foundation is non-profit organizations. Uh, so the Bodhicitta Foundation is there's a lot of things to do, but then as you know, sometimes I have uh, lack of my energies and the time, quite a bit of challenges to make a lots of projects and this and that, different things. So I've been doing some in the past, helping some individual people, some individual uh, special single women and animals helping, and some students helping. So some people are donated particularly for the animals. We have support to the animal people who are. I just finished um, few $100 people send it. We just give it to some person here in my town. One lady was helping the animal. Every day she says she feeding animal, the wild animal, the dogs particularly, and 50 dogs, more than 50 dogs. Every day she feeds. So I had an opportunity to like symbol like that in the past too. So the most Bodhicitta activities is right now myself more focusing teachings. As mentioned you, I have online teaching. Like last, almost it took me more than almost 2 years teaching this, continue with this whole very big thick book, 100,000 songs of Milarepa, and the words of prophet, my teacher, the book by the Zapata Rinpoche, one of the Tibetan masters. And we've been doing also in the past already, we did dual ornament liberation, which is also kind of, the lamrim, the path of meditation, the how to start from beginnings, and also did some teachings, the 37 practice of bodhisattvas. Those texts we are really regularly working with the people teaching. And I have other topics, sometimes short, special teachings has been doing. And the Bodhicitta people support it, and whatever they want to support for the meditation or for the animals, for the single mothers, for the poor peoples, and then so forth. We did so therefore my Bodhicitta Foundation is actually truth is not really active, not so many, very simple, focusing. I myself is more focusing in the teachings to reach people, and we spend that money to, and also myself go to some sometimes different retreat, and reaching to go myself to receive other masters teaching in the past many years, last almost 10, 15 years. I've been following wonderful masters. I had a really good opportunity. And all this coming up this year in September, and after September to the January, uh, more than 4 months. So I'm going to again to meet some wonderful master to receive again some very, very, how to say, the wonderful teachings about the going to teach, which is a wonderful opportunity. So those are activities there. So yeah,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
then.
And yeah, well, I wanted to mention just because we've been discussing it, those online classes, it looks like you can register for them through your website, the lamagursam.org, and you have weekly online scheduled discussions where you talk about the 100,000 songs in Milarepa, the Dhammapada, among other things. And I wanted to talk a little bit about your relationship with the teachers that you had as you were kind of growing up, and also too with these masters, because I think that you've had very close relationships with different teachers, and there are certainly some pictures of you seated below and next to some of these teachers as they're addressing a larger group. And I think that you are offering the service of translating, or like you're offering some sort of way to communicate to the rest of the people that are assembled what the teachings are. And I've been in some environments myself where there's a teacher who is who's speaking, and then there's a translator that who after every once in a while has those breaks, and then they'll offer what's being said by the teacher. And I feel like there's a lot to balance. You have to hear the teaching, you have to kind of coalesce into a way that makes it understandable for everyone else. And I was wondering what your experience was like, because you have to kind of get to know the teacher pretty well to know what they're trying to get at, or what they're conveying. And then you also have to make it so it's accessible. So I was wondering what your experience was like doing that.
Uh, the well, I personally really had a wonderful opportunity to meeting wonderful masters. According to particularly Tibetan Buddhism, within in the Tibetan Buddhism, different masters, different sects, and opportunity, and so which is I really always appreciate and grateful how I am. But so that's why Ali mentioned, though, I spent uh, after 2000, right now is 2025, I almost spend my time to study with the other teachers and study with myself and the retreat. That's all I went, that's all I did so far. I don't have nothing else to show anybody, but I was opportunity to met those wonderful masters. And also sometimes I take with me, and then people teach their teachings. So I try to translate as possible, to share their thoughts, to introduce some wonderful masters. Generally, every master is wonderful, but then I try to share other according to the as my background is Tibetan Buddhism, so I can share people like a Tibetan traditional Tibetan Buddhism, different lineages like a blessing lineage, the Kagyu lineage masters. I try to introduce, and then Nyingma lineage. I try to introduce people, and the Sakya lineage introduce people, and the Gelupa lineage introduce people. That makes me kind of more accessible for other people too. I personally myself uh, really want to be freedom of religious, what that really means. So I introduce people, and then they can go wherever they want, whoever they want to follow, they feel comfortable, and then they can follow practice, continue, so then they can find their own path, they find their own master, they can find their way. If they want to be with me, and welcome always, so therefore I always, myself, not just, I always really think myself is not the teacher at all. I always think about myself as students, so that's why I always go, wonderful master. There's a wonderful teachers are still opportunity. There is a live, real, solid. When I'm talking about the solid uh, Buddha Dharma's, teachings and the practitioners there. So there I try to put my whole energy as possible to receive teaching and practice myself, as possible. So in order to translate, or in order to share to others, for receiving from the master, in order to share others, yes, I really believe in order to sharing, teaching others, like for example, for me, first thing is I have to have a received completely teaching, whatever tradition, whatever subjects you study, that I really very highly recommend and highly respect those things. First I have to receive myself, and then I can put my energy there to practice this. Then I can study it as much sometimes to sharing others. So there is some kind of the blessings, the wisdoms, the knowledges, experiences there. So it makes kind of very special, so very special. So that's what I've been doing, focusing very, not openly, very secretly, let's say, right? This is the first time opening here, but I usually never ever mention in those, I didn't have any opportunity to share, but I have a wonderful opportunity to share those teaching and receive as well. Sometimes try to, one word I always use in the teaching time, balance, The balance means I have to practice myself, have to balance. I have to receive sometimes teaching to balance. I have to offer other people who are interested about any teachings which I if I know very well, some whatever teachings are, I like to be shared. So everything has to be balanced. So that's what very, very important.
Certainly, certainly. And then I really appreciate how you put so much care into making sure that you receive those teachings completely as well. It's like there's a responsibility there if you want to be able to share it with somebody so that you can make that teaching accessible. And if they ever have questions, you have to really have a very thorough understanding of what you're learning in the first place. And it's wonderful that you see yourself, you've been doing this for quite some time, and you offer teachings and you help people understand things, but you yourself consider yourself a student, and that you have this constant and consistent want to learn more, and to go out of your way to go and work with these masters to get those teachings. I think it's a really wonderful and inspiring quality. And on the traveling note, I know that pretty soon you will be doing a North American tour. You're going to be doing a North American tour this year. You're going to be going uh, to the United States. You're going to be going to New Jersey, New Hampshire, Maryland, Missouri, Arizona, and Canada. And that's going to go from July 12th through August 24th. So you're going to be here soon. I mean, that's pretty soon. And I was wondering because I think you've been doing this sort of trip every once in a while, or if not frequently, for a number of years. Uh, what is your experience like being someone that is receiving teachings or living and working in in India and traveling the world and coming to the United States. Like, what was your experience like working with Tibetan Buddhist centers and communities while you're here in the United States?
Well, again, I always appreciate, grateful people who support me and organizing those teaching, including those organizers and like you and organizer, my partner Katie is supporting through those things, which is, as you know, not easy. So, but I've been doing that a long time, not too long. Every you know, few months in a year, you know, sometimes 3, 4 months, sometimes 6 months, longer than 6 months is my always my routine is to go back to my own retreat and study myself. So, so I have a wonderful opportunity. So going those places, as you mentioned, and I'm meeting with this so wonderful sangha people, the meditators, practitioners, all kind of uh, people, you know, Buddhists or non-Buddhists. I opportunity to teach those groups and those centers, those community, and also sometimes I have opportunity. Not this time. I used to have a teaching also to meeting with um, different groups like AA, like prisoners. I've been in the last many years, prisoners to share some of my thoughts. Oh, it was wonderful, you know, really, and I'm learning too, you know, sharing with them, and I'm learning from them too. And I really appreciate, in especially in the United States, people are there is a lot of people are so interested about the Buddha Dharma, really, especially every teaching they interested, particularly they interested more about the mindfulness meditation, about, you know, how to be trained the mind. So which is the essence of the teachings of the Buddha Dharma, you know, it's very important. So I like to share, and we had a discussions to learn, you know, how to Buddha Dharma is not just only the text or not only the something say, it have to be how to be applied in our reality life, everyday life, you know, when we are happy, how we should do it, you know, how do we use the Dharma. When we are some challenges, things there, how do we use that this teaching of the Buddha Dharma, so on. So therefore, I had a wonderful opportunity. So there, I'm really grateful those people who supported me, and then also wonderful experience myself, you know, and it supposed to also support my Bodhicitta foundations as well. It also supports my regular continue uh, to maintain my own personal practice, to maintain the study, and maintain the to share my thoughts to other living beings as well, you know.
I feel like there's a really wonderful cycle or routine where you will have your retreat, you'll have your personal study, you'll have your time where you'll be working in and interacting with masters and getting some teachings and have them coalesce and really deeply understand them. And then you will take that time and then go off and tour and offer online classes and courses and you'll be leading. I want to get into this in just a minute, but you'll be leading some pilgrimages, and so then you kind of give and offer all those things. And while you're doing that, you learn a lot from the people you're interacting with, and whether it be people that are a part of sanghas that you're talking to, people that are just generally curious about mindfulness and Buddha Dharma, but also to like prisoners and people that are incarcerated and you're just taking those opportunities, and then you go back, and then just there's this generosity with the Dharma that flows in and out for what seems like for you, and I think that's a really wonderful thing. And so I know that you'll be doing some states that are, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Maryland, Missouri, Arizona, and then you'll be going up to Canada later. Is there a place that you or a state in America that you haven't been to yet, or is there a part of America that you haven't visited quite yet that you've been wanting to for some time? And then if not, if there's something that I would just be curious if you do some touristy things too, if you go and visit some sites or if you go and visit some special sites that are, like the Brooklyn Bridge or something like that. I'm just curious if there's something that you like to see or do while you're here.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I had a wonderful opportunity since I was in the USA in 1995, actually, very long time. So I had a wonderful opportunity to go different states, different cities, uh, maybe few states and a few cities I didn't have a chance to go, but most states I already been some places, and I had a wonderful experience, enjoy. And I also personally always like to go, like if somebody says, "Oh, where do you want to go?" So it says, "Okay, I will try to support what you want to do." I will go just walking, go like one state to the next state, whatever walking there, the opportunity to bring your own thing and then on the way, just walk and go practice, stay in some few places, few days, rest and meditate, cook ourselves, whatever it is possible, and then keep walking, keep walking, whatever into different cities and different lakes, different mountains, and I think that's what I I had in my in long time in even in the USA or even in India too. But quite a bit India is quite a bit challenge. But India has been already lots of wonderful practitioner, different tradition, particularly Indian tradition. Like the Hindu tradition, they've been doing also wonderful yogis, yoginis there. They've been doing that. I always really think about it, just like I don't know how long I can, but I'm not sure. But I really like to just whatever we call as we call the backpack, right? So just bring few things and then uh, go, just walking meditation every time and learn somebody on the way, whatever, meeting people. If somebody asks, say some few words to Dharma, just share with them. If not, that's fine, just go. Just, I think that's the whole reason I've been in some experience in the different mountains in my, many years back. In the last these few years, I had something has to take care in my personal life, so I didn't have opportunity. Um, wish as soon as I can continue the walking meditation, walking path meditation.
Yeah, there's a lot of adventure in that. There's a lot of just kind of packing a backpack and walking and seeing who you meet, seeing what you see. You're not entirely sure, but you do journey forth or you go somewhere and you might be in a new territory, but it might be an opportunity not just to share the Dharma, but just to have that kind of learning experience and to see what's out there. I think that's a really wonderful thing. And then two, you have something coming up also this year. You will be doing a pilgrimage to Nepal, and that will be from September 7th through the 18th. And I believe the registration for that also is with your website, lamagursam.org. But you'll be going to, and again, I hope I can pronounce things okay, but Buddhanath, Swayambhunath, Tilopa's cave, and as well as some other caves, and you're going to Namo Buddha as well. Um, is there any I suppose because you've been doing some of these pilgrimages before, and you organize them, and I saw part of the itinerary. I saw some of that packet of like things to expect or things to prepare for, and how the dining and everything that will work for the hotels and everything, and it's very organized. But I was wondering, what about bringing people to these pilgrimage sites? I might assume that you've been to before. What is it like to bring other people there and to help share these sacred spaces with them? What is that experience like?
Yes, as you mentioned, I've been doing this at least four four times, the fifth time, the different pilgrimage in India. Most of it was in India, Nepal. So, and we are also planning for the future, sometimes in some part of uh, Mount Everest, Tibet, Kailash, Mount Kailash, and as well as Tibet, and some those other places. Uh, so I've been doing that. I had a wonderful opportunity there too, because of the uh, and another thing in the West, many people have opportunity wanting to go, but they don't know how to, be engaged those places. Many spiritual people wanting to be spiritual uh, path to go pilgrimage, and we are going to pilgrimage. It's not like exactly like a tourist. We're going to sometimes have some teachings, some meditations, some explanations, some tourists, some tech like things like that. It was very, very healing for the people because people can see other cultures, other spiritual path, and other people how they live in their life. So it is very, very wonderful to see. Sometimes when in our life, due to different busy schedule, we are just stuck in one place. It's always, which is I personally think it's not really healthy sometimes. It's better if you have opportunity. Somebody must go those places, any places they interested, go and then learn, and sit down with me, and we also meeting not just me. We are going to meet other teachers and other holy places and as well to get their blessings. And people have a wonderful experience actually. Some people are sometimes really, really they found a meaningful life. What that means is they really found inner peace. That is matters really for me. When we go to traveling, that they found very, very special insight, joy, and happy. When they go back home, they're so happy with that. So on so. So that people are continue. Some people um, for the next year, after some year, they come back again, go back, traveling, and as that's a wonderful qualities pilgrimage. And also it is one of the spiritual point of view. It going to pilgrimage, holy place, it is supports it's our inner qualities. It helps to get blessing that, those places are already wonderful masters. His or her, their realization happened there, those places. When some people reach there and then they feel, they can feel, experience that, So there we are meeting with the different people, spiritual people. We're going to be also meeting with some Tibetan medicine doctors too. They can share about how Tibetan medicine point of view believe in the health, how important of the health, the physically or whatever, that different health, the point of view, they can learn the new uh, uh, herbal tradition, different tradition of the medicine, not like only one way. There's many different medicines there. It's very wonderful to learn. Not just only stuck in one place. So that's it. It kind of opens their eyes, and also it is very good for myself too. Have opportunity with them and go place and meditate. And I myself had opportunity different places, as I mentioned you, just only the mountains, but not just mountain. I go personally, I go sometimes different beaches, different beaches and go meditate and practice, enjoy, I have been, and also not just me, in a historically Tibetan, in a history Tibetan or Buddhism generally, Indian master in the past, those are also been that way, They've been kind of wandering person and went to different places and meditate in a cave, meditate in the beaches and in the jungles and the forest and different places. It has a wonderful experience. It has its own, the energies differences.
Certainly. And yeah, I think it's just a wonderful thing where you provide an opportunity for people to do something at a different pace, because sometimes for myself there's this like pressure. Let's say you like I'll go to London or something like that, and then now I have to go see Buckingham Palace, and now I really have to go see the Tower of London or the London Bridge, and I have to go to see Big Ben and all these different things, and I have to get these things done. And if I don't see those things, then I didn't do London, I didn't do the thing that I uh, ought to have, or something like that. However, the way that it seems like the pilgrimage experience works, even just from uh, the understanding of what you're going to be doing, like the mindset that you're going to be in, and the incorporation of teachings, the incorporation of interactions with different masters, telling you about Tibetan medicine and otherwise, and philosophies. You were saying that there are people that have this sense of calm, or they have like kind of a pause on that busyness of their mind where they need to be getting things done in a certain way. Instead, they are a little bit more present, and they have these experiences that are moving for them and insightful. And then we're coming to a close on our conversation, which I've really enjoyed a great deal. And I wanted to offer a space for you to promote anything that you might want to promote. I don't know if there's anything that you're writing. I know we've mentioned some of the online classes that you have, your tour that's coming up in North America, as well as your pilgrimage that's happening coming up in September. But I wanted to know if there's anything that you'd want to share with others and draw attention to that you're working on.
Well, those are the most my regular schedule online teachings, different, and especially for every month I have a special teachings online, and also working for this my Bodhicitta Foundation. People will look interested. There is actually very clear about my activities there. So so that could be if they're interested, it'd be wonderful. So, and as you mentioned about the reading and the books and so forth, so I know uh, at least few people are asking me about the book writings. So, which is I always respect writing books, and I enjoy reading. I respect people who writes a book their own. It's a wonderful. But personally, for me, have nothing to say special, which is already mentioned in the Buddha Dharma. So I have nothing special to offer something new. So then I thought about it's nothing uh, uh, to write new books. So many of the suggested, but still I have not time enough for other things, But we'll see, we'll see. Going to be uh, what kind of books they really people are interested. So I have to think about it, about that. Yeah, I wish I'm going to write some books, but we'll see. I'm haven't found a good company yet, person, to writing together something to kind of, I like to be write some kind of, like as we are here, dialogue, you know, two persons talking about different subject about, to share. people can easily read and understanding, so.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think that's a well. I do want to draw people's attention to lamagursam.org for your online courses, for information about your tour coming up, and also the pilgrimage, and also the Bodhicitta Foundation, which I think you can link to from that website. And I do. I mean, I would love to read that book. That sounds like a wonderful thing to have it in a dialogue. But I understand that time is the important thing to balance here. So I wouldn't want to push you until you're ready. But that sounds like a wonderful thing. And then very briefly, as we come to a close, I just wanted to ask, do you have any advice for anybody who is walking the Buddhist path that you would have wanted to have heard when you were walking it at some point?
Well, I have nothing special advice to something, but I always believe in a walking path to spiritual or the Buddha Dharma, wherever. So I do believe we all have to cannot separate it, study and contemplation to thinking, contemplation and practice, the meditation. So those three of them we call sometimes three wisdom: the study wisdom, contemplation wisdom, the practice, the meditation, the concentration, the wisdom. Three of them is goes together. Sometimes we believe in, oh, this is my study time. I don't have to practice. No, that doesn't work really. The same times have kind of cannot separate. What I mean is, we have to be the study, same times thinking, contemplating, same times practicing meditations, practicing whatever the actions, meditation means to actions, what it means, whatever actions we have to do. So that could be much more benefit. And then other things I always believe in my path, uh, I think it's a reality life. It's so important. Whatever we do in a spiritual path, sometimes we are separated from that. In the reality life and the spiritual path, we cannot separate that actually. Everything spiritual path, to whatever we study, whatever we practicing, we have to bring into the real life to use that, to practice in the real life. So as life, not like, oh, it's 1,000 years been in the Buddha said and such. Real life in the reality every day to apply into the path, every day in the reality life, every day what will be happening. So that it makes kind of spiritual teachings and the Buddha Dharma and so forth become a really rich, really benefit in the real way. That is, I believe, that's my thoughts. I have nothing, any suggestion or advice, but this is my humble. I believe this is why I try to be practice myself too. Really. Always I learn from the master. And then second question for me is always, now what I have to do with this? What? What is? How do I use in my life? How do I benefit from my life and benefit others? So that is so that I really believe in the real preservation of the Buddha Dharma and the real benefit for the in a real way. That is the otherwise become a kind of just story. Just a history and story, which is a wonderful. There's nothing wrong, but that's a little bit of challenge. So that's what I mentioned. The life story of Milarepa. It's very very special. Very practical. So.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that where it can't just live in the book, or it can't just live in the teaching and just have it be a story. I mean, there's that second question of how do I apply it to my life and how do I bring it into the real world, and then also too what you were saying earlier about how study and practice and the real world are all kind of together. It's hard to separate those different components. It's very inspiring because it feels like sometimes you can just think about it in your head as an intellectual exercise, but the actual application um, can be quite powerful and of great benefit. So thank you, Lama Gursam, for speaking with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm really excited about your upcoming travels and your upcoming classes and all the projects that you're working on, and whether you're traveling to North America to teach or if you're leading a pilgrimage. I just think it's a really wonderful resource that you're providing for people. So thank you, and thank you for taking the time today.
Well, thank you too, Vincent. Really, really appreciate giving me opportunity this, and thank you for you, and thank you for my partner. Kerry was working hard, communicating with you back and forth. Those things. Please, you always welcome. If you feel I can continue, if you feel something's needed to talk or something to share, please welcome. And I hope so. Everything goes well, through my few thoughts that could be benefit for other living beings.